to my channel. Sorry if it's a little darker than normal. My lighting is a little different. I couldn't like bring my huge ring light, so I'm managing with the one that I'm using right now. My background looks different because I'm somewhere different. But the point of this video is that I'm going to be reviewing Mielle. I thought it was Mielle Organics, but I guess it's just Mielle now. Products. Ding. And I wanted to try these out, one, because they are Black owned, and that's on period. And because I've always heard good things about this particular brand. This is the pomegranate honey leave-in conditioner, and this is the avocado moisturizing hair milk. Now, for some reason, I just assumed that since these were two pink labels that they were of the same line. I guess maybe that's not the case. But the reason why I picked up this leave-in conditioner initially, because it says it's a moisturizing curl primer and detangler for thick, curly type 4 hair, aka your sis. So I wanted to utilize that. Sorry, the AC just turned on. One sec. Okay, so I wanted to see if this works in my hair, because I've been using the same leave-in conditioner for years, and that's a Kinky Curly Not Today. That is my go-to conditioner. Leave-in conditioner. I love it so much, but I was like, let me switch up products, because it's also good that if you have natural hair, that your hair, just like your skin, can get accustomed to a product. So sometimes you have to switch them up to try different things if your hair is not popping like it used to. I've already washed and deep conditioned my hair. Check out my previous video on how I wash and deep conditioned my hair in the shower, my method there. And then what I like to do once I get out the shower is leave my hair in a towel, so it can absorb some of the moisture, so it's not like, so I'm not working on soaking wet hair. And the reasons why you don't want to do that, because when you're working on soaking wet hair, you can also give your hair moisture overload. I know some people are like, how is that even a concept? You always want your hair to be moisturized. Yes, that is true, but you can also over moisturize it. Some things that you'll notice when your hair is over moisturized, if your curls are not popping, if your hair seems mushy, that means you are over moisturizing your hair. I would suggest you to do a protein treatment to get those curls strengthened. And for them to pop. Now, without further ado, let's get into the tour. So I'm gonna take my hair out of this towel. It's been drying for maybe an hour and a half to an hour. Oh wow, my hair feels actually pretty good. And the deep conditioner that I use, I normally don't like it, but I might have to start messing with it again. Let's do a thumbnail. Ding, oops. Ding. It's actually pretty soft. So I also wanted to like do like a chit chat while I'm doing my hair, and let's just talk about life things, okay? And a little bit about me. So most of you may not know that I was born and raised in Maryland. Wow. And with me living there, of course, not everyone, but some people have like the big dreams of moving to New York City. And that was one of my big dreams. I'm like, I'm going to move to New York City and work for a fashion magazine. And then when I actually got to New York City, I was like, I'm going to actually work for Complex. Okay. Complex is super competitive to work at. It's still like a dream of mine because it's Complex and I love sneakers. And not only because the sneaker culture is real and they accept it. By the way, I'm sectioning my hair in 4 sections. It was just like a great magazine. Like when I was younger, I used to collect magazines. Like, fun fact, I used to collect Cosmopolitan, and I know you're probably thinking like, sis, you were 14. What are you doing reading Cosmopolitan? And that's a good question. I don't know. I just liked it. And then of course, Teen Vogue was my shiznait. I don't get how girls would be like, oh my god, I loved Vogue. I was not that type of girl. It's like, cool. So I've been living in New York for about 4 years. And it has been a hell of a journey. Like, you learn, honestly, like, this is a place where you learn a lot about yourself, a lot about others. And New York definitely has raised me and developed me into the person that I am. I used to be, I still am an introvert, and I still am rather shy, but I used to be very shy. Like, it was to the point where, you know, in school where like everyone's reading aloud and then they'll go around the room, okay, you take the next paragraph, you take the next paragraph. I was that child where I was so nervous. I will be reading the paragraph ahead of the person that's already reading, just so I didn't stumble. And I was just like so nervous of public speaking. My public speaking kind of went away because of my job that I started off when I was in my early 20s, and because of a public speaking class that I took at my first university, which was LIM, which is Laboratory Institute of Merchandising College. Now with LIM, sorry, let's pause there. I'm going to do 3 twists on this side, just 2 strand twist. With LIM, it was a cool school. It's a private university, so if y'all don't know what that means it cost money. And my parents did not have that money. I did not have that money. And then my grandmother fell ill, so she didn't have anyone to really take care of her. So I essentially dropped out of college, one, because my parents couldn't fund my college tuition, and because my grandmother was sick, so I came back and took care of her until she unfortunately passed away. She was like the love of my life. I love that woman. She was so kind, so sweet. And it was just like very sad. And also that experience like definitely matured me. Seeing someone who has raised you their entire life, and then you're essentially not really raising them, but you're then in turn taking care of them. And then it kind of felt like I didn't do enough, or it wasn't enough, because she ultimately passed away, which was like really, really sad. And even just talking about it, I'm gonna switch the subject because I get a little emotional. I'm going to go on with the leave-in conditioner, and then I'm gonna follow up with the hair milk, and then I'll apply a gel on top of it. That's my twist out routine. Let's see how this works. So once that happened, I then stayed in Maryland for some time. Maybe that was 2 or 3 more years. And I was working at the popular retailer Urban Outfitters. Okay. I worked at, let's just start there. I worked at Urban Outfitters for 8 years. 8 years. Like, what was I thinking? And then while I was working there, I met one of my friends, applied for FIT, and like we had that conversation like, oh my goodness, like I personally always wanted to go to FIT. That was my #1 school before I got accepted into LAM, and that was also a dream of mine. By this time I was in my, I was like 24, 23-ish, 24. And I was like, no, it's too late to go back to school. And then I was like, girl, it's never too late to go back to school. Never let that be an excuse. Never let that stop you. Never let your age stop anything that you want to do in your life. No. So I literally applied on a whim, put my heart and soul into the essay, and I was accepted to FIT. I moved to NYC in 2016 on my own, meaning that I didn't know anyone. I dormed my first year. I knew like 2 people in the city. And yeah, so that was that. Now with me moving to a new city, of course I had to secure a job. I was fairly independent. I've always been independent. So I was like, I couldn't expect for my mom or my dad to send me money to go to school. So I had to find a job, and thankfully, a good thing within Urban Outfitters, I think if you work for the company for a year? Excuse me. A year or 6 months, I forgot. You can transfer anywhere in the United States. Anywhere. So I just put on my transfer to work in the location in Soho, New York. Of course, they're not just going to guarantee you a job. You have to like meet the manager, have like a semi-interview, and then they'll tell you if your transfer is accepted or not. 9 times out of 10, it's usually accepted. So I worked there on the men's team. Let's get into working for Urban Outfitters. This little rant. Working at Urban Outfitters, you can meet the coolest, dopest, amazing people that you've ever worked with in your life. That's what what Urban Outfitters does well. We hire cool, dope people. Like individually, they're amazing people. However, sometimes with these cool, dope people, they tend to forget that they are working, or you have to work. Like within my career of Urban Outfitters, of course, I moved up. I held management positions. The Soho location is an $11 million store. The Herald Square location is a $12 million store. That was 2 years ago when I used to work there, so I know these numbers. And I was essentially the assistant women's manager at the Soho location, managing a $7 million department. And some people like try to downplay retail and retail workers and management. It is an actual job. You have to know your demographic. You have to know what's selling, what's not selling, your top classes, your focus classes, HR, everything that has to do with hiring, training, loss prevention. It's like a lot. And not to say that COVID was a good thing, but it did bring about recognizing that retail workers are not only essential, but they're amazing. They're amazing at what they do. Like, I used to be so like overly optimistic, and I will say that retail is one of those industries, unfortunately, where it kind of took away my happiness. Like, especially working at Urban, you would have to work crazy shifts. I would have to deal with the craziest people. People who are known scammers or known thieves. If you like deny their return, or you tried to like stop someone from stealing, be prepared for them to threaten you. I've been threatened. My life has been threatened working at Urban. I've been spit at, but not spit on, spit at. I've been called derogatory names. I've had candles thrown at me. I've had hangers thrown at me. And that's the con about Urban. When that happens to their employee, they don't do anything about it. They're just like, oh, I'm sorry that happened to you, and they go about their day, which is completely not okay. There was an instance where I worked for Urban Outfitters, and our LP agent, loss prevention agent, literally was jumped on the subway because he was protecting your brand, your store, your clothing, and the people that were trying to steal from the establishment saw him, and they were angry because it was like, oh, this is the guy that was trying to stop our hustle. This is the guy who didn't allow us to take those tees or those Adidas pants, and they jumped him. And unfortunately, their response was, why is he late for work? I just told you because I told him to go to the precinct to file a police report. Urban is just, they don't treat their employees well, one. And they are super racist. Like, they will legit think someone is stealing based upon your attire, what you're wearing, how you're talking. If you come in a group with more than 3 people and you're a minority, they are most likely thinking you're going to steal, which is another reason why I was so unhappy in that job. Legit, like, the people I was around during that time and my friends could tell you, I was so unhappy. They legit would say, oh, why are you being so mean? Because I'm normally not a mean person, one. Like, I'm not mean. But at work, at Urban, because I know the type of people I have to deal with, and I know they would try you or they threaten you, I had to have resting bitch face 25/8. There's no smiling. I couldn't be nice to customers, especially at the register when I was floor sweeping, which mainly means you are in charge of the productivity in the work environment for that hour or hours at a time. Meaning if someone was attempting to steal or trying to steal, you had to solve it. You had to figure out the best ways to handle that. Call your LP, tell the person in shop 1 to be on the lookout. When they're headed to the register, hey, they're headed to the register, call me if you need assistance. You need to step in with assistance. If they're yelling, throwing things at you, you have to remain professional. And I will say I was very good at doing that. I'm very good at being calm in crazy situations. Like, I don't like to stress myself out if I don't have to stress myself out. So if you're yelling and you're acting a fool and you're just doing it just to do it, by all means, keep it pushing, sis. You can do that, because you're not gonna get a reaction on me. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna act a fool because you're upset because you're dumb. I'm sorry, but you're dumb. So that's experience at working at Urban was not fun. And then also, like, the raises, they would have the audacity, like, when you're head of a department, you would have to bring in each individual employee and do reviews, okay? Which is completely fine. Talk about their strengths, their weaknesses, individually and as a team, rank them, set goals for the next quarter, the next year, yada, yada, yada. See where they want to go. And then you would also be the one responsible for telling them their raise for the year, might I add, the year. Urban will give you a raise maybe every year, maybe. You done? Mad rude. Anyway, so 1 year, they're still not done. Wow, this must be serious. All right, several times. I had to bring in my team members and tell them that they were going to get, with this, a 10-cent raise. Y'all might as well keep that. I was like, are you kidding me? I have to sit down with my team members and tell them they're going to get 10 cents more on their hourly minimum wage? No. No. And it's, of course, it comes in effect of your shrink percentage as a department, as your store. If you perform well, you'll be able to give out higher raises. But if you didn't perform well, you just don't expect a raise. Don't expect anything. Also, working in Urban Outfitters, it was extremely hard to bonus on the quarter because the goals or the guidelines they set was unattainable, honestly. In the 8 years I've worked at Urban Outfitters in management positions, in high volume, low volume, community stores, neighborhood stores, college stores, mall stores, street stores, it doesn't matter. I bonused twice. 2 times. That's it. And that's pretty pathetic. The start is done. So far so good, I guess. It's not doing anything like pretty magical for my hair, but it's not like horrible. So I'll definitely continue to use it. I want to see how it looks when I take out my twist once they dry, but so far so good. I will say the leave-in conditioner is not as great as Kinky Curly Not Today, and I think it's because Kinky Curly Not Today has marshmallow extract in it, which gives the conditioner like a really great slip, and this is not really that slippery, so, but it's not bad. It smells great. My hair is gonna smell like the tropics. Yeah, that was my little spiel about Urban, because that's a time that I will never forget. Like, I've made so many lifelong cool friends from Urban Outfitters, and I've met some really cool people. But will I work for them again? No. Unless I needed a job real quick, then I would apply. But other than that, it's a no for me, sis. Now let's get into another topic of how to get over breakups. Now, I know COVID-19 has, in all honesty, I would think it would have the opposite effect, because you're getting to spend more time with your significant other. But a lot of people have been breaking up because of COVID-19. And I don't know if that's because you guys are not normally around each other that often, and y'all basically got on each other's nerves. And he was like, whoa, this is not what I want, or whatever. But honestly, I think it depends on how long you guys have been together, or how much you were invested in that particular relationship, or vice versa, he or she was invested in your particular relationship. The things that you have, been through together as a couple. And that's not to say that if you've been in a relationship for 2 weeks or 2 months that it's not hard, or it's not easy to go over a breakup. But I think when you've been in a relationship long term, it kind of sucks when you break up, and you kind of have to find yourself and routines as an individual. I will be the first to say that when you are in a relationship, or this is my experience, I definitely would get comfortable in having routines with said person. Like, you guys would do X together, or go here together, and of course that's great, but you also have to be comfortable in being an individual and doing things by yourself. So my main thing, or a couple tips to get over a breakup, I would say don't rush it. Like, don't think, like, what do they say? Half the amount of time that you were with someone is the amount of time that you should be able to get over them. For example, if you're dating someone for 6 months, they say in 3 months you should be over them. That's not necessarily true. And I say that to say this: don't rush it. And when you're in front of people, you're like, oh, I'm fine, everything's cool, and you're not feeling okay. It's okay to feel hurt. It's okay to feel as though that you lost a friend, you lost someone. It's definitely okay to miss someone and not want that person back into your life. That's completely fine. I think where people tend to hiccup on getting over breakups is lashing out on the fact, like, oh, I'm finally single now, I can do this, I can do that, just for show. And it's kind of like, wow, like, maybe you need this time to reevaluate yourself and your choices and just to spend some time alone. So my first tip, finally here comes Jasmine, dragged out, would be to take your time. If you want to cry, cry. If you want to get upset. That's completely fine. I would want you to do that in a healthy manner. Journal, listen to music. If you need to stay at home and like cry for a day or two, that's fine. But I think when it's pushing a week, you need to get some light. You need to be around people who are there for you. So definitely take your time with. It's essentially mourning a loss. So you're definitely mourning a loss. I would say number 2 would be try to reinvest in yourself. What did you want out of that relationship, or what did you want to do with while you're in the relationship that you did not have time to do? Whether that meant going back to school, learning how to hula hoop, getting a pet frog, whatever you wanted to do, whatever's going to make you happy, do it. But also I would caution you too to make sensible decisions. Don't be like, oh, I'm gonna buy a Lamborghini because my ex said I couldn't get a Lamborghini. Boom. Like, what? No. So now you have a car. Just make it make sense. And then number 3, I would say pick up a hobby. Like, sometimes when you're in the midst of a breakup, you tend to consume yourself with, oh my God, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did they do wrong? Would they take me back? Would I ever take them back? Maybe if I did this different, this would be the outcome. It's just like, sis, bruh, no. The outcome is the outcome. It came this way for a reason. Not to say that people don't change, but just give it some time. Like, I would say if you broke up with someone, give it at least 3 to 6 months for, even if you want to get back with that person right away, just start to date again, you know? You don't have to exclusively be with that person that you broke up with or they broke up with you, just to see how have they matured, do they understand the reasoning behind the breakup, and things like that. Number 4, I would say, don't consume yourself with validating your worth with being in a relationship. It's never that deep. Your number 1 best relationship should be with yourself. You should be happiest. Well, maybe this is not all people, but I love my alone time. Like, I love to be alone. I love to be unbothered. And that's kind of a red flag to me. Like, if you constantly have to be around someone to make yourself happy, it's just like, why? Like, why are you so happy by yourself? What did you do to yourself so bad? You know? So yeah, learn to love yourself, sis and bro. Because I know we speak on self-love for like women a lot, which is definitely okay. And yes, sister, love yourself. But also guys need to do the same thing. Y'all need to love yourselves too. Self-love is unisex. It's for everybody out there. Even your dog can have self-love. Like, little Chipper needs to love himself too. Just as much as you love Chipper, he needs to love himself. So it goes all around. Now, as you can see, I'm finishing this twist. I did flat twists in the front and single twists in the back. That's just what I do. That's what works for my hair. Once I finish this side, I'm gonna come back to you guys. I don't hate this leave-in conditioner. The pros about this, it smells delicious. It smells super sweet. Another pro about this, I would say, I love that it comes with a pump. You get 12 fluid ounces. I forgot how much I paid for this. I'll put it on the screen. I would say I had to use a little bit more than I would normally typically use a leave-in conditioner in my hair to get the slip that I needed. I had to use about 4 pumps for each twist. I didn't hate it, but it's not like it's magical and I love this stuff. Now, the moisturizing hair milk, this a little goes a long way. And I felt as though, oh, it's probably why the second ingredient is aloe vera juice, which is very good and very moisturizing for your hair. I would say I do love this. It says can be used as to seal ends and refresh curls. Definitely believe that. Oh, I'm supposed to use it with another leave-in conditioner. Maybe that's why these two didn't work well. Oh well, this is something that I probably would repurchase as a cream styler. And then I forgot to show you guys the gel that I use, which is the Miss Jessies Jelly Soft Curls. Now this gel, for this little container, you get 8.5 fluid ounces, which is 1.5 cup of gel for $18. Sometimes it goes for $21, but in all honesty, that's like the best gel I've ever used for my hair. I love the way it smells. It has this light, clean, powder, fresh scent. And I just love this gel. Like, yes, it's $18, but I'm buying 2 at a time. That's how much I love this gel. So we're gonna see tomorrow how these are going to turn out. Hopefully they dry. But the moral of this video is do your twist outs, make sure you're moisturizing your hair, don't work at Urban, and love yourself, sis and bruh, okay? Thank you for tuning in. And I'll see you tomorrow. I love ya. Tomorrow. Yeah, I'll see you tomorrow.